Guys, I'm so happy. Most of you have probably seen my little short that I did earlier this morning when I found out that the greatest news that ever could have happened has happened. Yes, better than us beating the Ravens, which didn't happen, but even if that was the news, it wouldn't be as good as what happened last night. Why am I saying that? Well, because beating the Ravens would have been a very singular moment in history, and it wouldn't really have changed anything for this franchise and this team. What happened this morning was beautiful, perfect. I've been saying for such a long time that Miami needs to fire Chris Grier. We need to fire Chris Grier. Not only that, I've been saying that it's the only move that makes sense to do right now, first thing. Absolutely. It's the very first thing that needed to happen. And some people would argue with me, no, fire Chris Grier, trade. So no, none of that mattered until Chris Grier was fired. Why? Because Chris Grier would find a way to mess it up. Chris Grier has finally been fired. Finally. Oh, I'm so happy, guys. And you should be too. And we're going to talk about why. Elwood, what's up, man? Good to see you in here, brother. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. I didn't think he would either. And I've said that multiple times too. I didn't think Ross had the stones to do it. But thankfully for you, for me, and for every Dolphins fan all around the planet, Chris Grier, or Stephen Ross, reached down into his pants, dug around, and found a pair of testicles. Not only that, he found a pair of testicles that actually function. As old as he is, he has testicles. They function. And he tapped into them and finally did what he needed to do as the owner of the Dolphins. He fired Chris Grier. Now, in that statement that Stephen Ross made, he stated that they mutually decided to part ways. I'm sorry. That is not what that means. That means he's been with us for a long time, and we're trying to give him an opportunity to find a job elsewhere. They canned him. And they said that because that allows him and gives him a good rep so that maybe he can go find another job. Now, here's the thing. His body of work with the Miami Dolphins is absolutely horrible. 8 years as general manager. Almost, I think, 20 years total with the Miami Dolphins. Unreal. A ton of time. And the amount of accolades and things that he's done with the team since then has been nothing. He's done nothing. You could say he's made a couple good drafts, but he's spent over $600 million. He's responsible for over $600 million. And we have nothing to show for it. He's responsible for 24 or 25 or 26 first and second round draft picks, and we have nothing to show for it. This is a man that needed to go. And whatever he was doing, it wasn't working. The things that did work that he didn't work enough to make a difference, right? So now Chris Grier is finally gone. And we can celebrate that. And, well, let me clarify. Some people would say, how can you possibly be excited for someone losing their job? And it's a sad thing. He's got a family. He does have a family. And it is sad that he's losing his job. But the Dolphins did the right thing by making the statement that they mutually decided to part ways. And I'm sure they'll give a pleasant review of Chris Grier if anybody calls, asking how he was. How was he in the office? I'm sure he was very pleasant. I'm sure, whatever. Who cares? He's not with us anymore. This is fantastic news for the Miami Dolphins. You should all be very excited for this. This is the first necessary step, the only step that makes sense, and the Miami Dolphins finally did it. We finally did it. Now we can start looking towards the future. There's some hope here. And I'm not talking about hope as in maybe we'll win our next game. Maybe we'll even make the playoffs. I'm not saying anything like that. I think this season is a wash. But it doesn't have to be a total loss. And I'm not talking about wins and losses. I think that this is a good thing for the Miami Dolphins in the long run. This is going to be a good thing for the Miami Dolphins next year. And it could be a good thing for us this year. So let's talk about how. Well, this year, it could be great for us. We have Champ Kelly stepping in as our interim general manager. Champ Kelly is a very, very smart man. Very smart man. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to be our permanent general manager. I don't think he will be, but he's going to be up for it. You know why? You know why he's going to be up for it? Because he's got this season, the rest of this season, to make changes. Now, Stephen Ross did not put Champ Kelly in charge. I'm sorry, guys. I am so amped up. I got to get this stuff out. I am freaking out here. I'm so happy. Stephen Ross did not put Champ Kelly in charge of this team for this season, for the rest of this year until we find a permanent GM. He didn't do that and tell Champ Kelly, just leave everything alone. That's not what's happening here. I guarantee it. I guarantee you that we're going to see some changes. And now I'm not saying Mike McDaniel's going to get fired tomorrow. I'm not saying anything like that. But I'm saying I guarantee you Stephen Ross and Champ Kelly have been planning this for a while. I guarantee it. They've been planning this for a while. And when they brought Champ Kelly in, you can scroll back and if you take the time and try to find it. When we hired Champ Kelly, I made a video on this, and it was one of my first few videos on this channel because I'm a young channel, right? I made this video and I talked about it, and I said Champ Kelly being in this front office for the Miami Dolphins is not a mistake. It's not a chance happening. Champ Kelly is a very, very capable man in a business suit. I'm telling you. He knows football. He was hired as our senior personnel executive. Now he's our interim general manager. He knows football. This man is going to do some things, okay? He's begun the evaluation process already, guaranteed. He has carte blanche to make changes. And I think we're going to see some. Dude, thanks for the sub, man. Appreciate that. Thank you. Awesome. Welcome to it, brother. Hallelujah. Oh, man. During the first offseason, I had McDaniel getting fired after the Spain game and Greer staying next year, so I don't know anything. Hey, man, it's the Dolphins. I don't know either. I was worried that McDaniel would get fired before Chris Greer because I recognize that, and I'm sure most of us do too, the main problem is Chris Greer. He's the one that spearheaded all of this, right? This is all his thing. This was all his creation. And I just wasn't quite ready to say, fire Mike McDaniel. Now, I do think that probably Mike McDaniel is going to get fired. I do think that he isn't the best coach, right? I'm not going to say that he is. He's a good coach, or at least a good head coach. All right. I'm not going to say that. But I think right now the most important thing was to get rid of Chris Greer. Now we have an interim GM with the power and ability to make changes to this football team. And more importantly, to evaluate the team. Not just the players, but the coaches, the water boys, the physical therapy techs, everything. All right. He's got that ability. Now, dude, I'm actually quite optimistic about what Ross is doing here. Me too. I couldn't agree more. Very optimistic about this. Why? Why are we so optimistic? It's because we have a chance for genuine change. You can't change without cutting the head off the snake. And that's what we did today. Now, we very well could wind up with a new general manager. I'm going to talk about some of the names that I have in my head that I'm very, very, I would be excited to interview for this job, and people that would probably be excited to come over. Now, before we start hiring a GM or making Champ Kelly or permanent GM or whatever happens, I've heard that too. I wouldn't be totally opposed to this. I feel like Lane Kiffin would be a lot more ready to be a head coach now. I don't think he would be a terrible choice. But right now, I think there's two things that could happen here, right, with the rest of the season. Obviously, it's probably not. I don't think it's going to happen, but they play the game for a reason. They could, win 7 or 8 games out of their last 8. They could. I doubt it. It's not going to happen, but they could. If they did, great. The other option, which is more likely, we're going to finish with 3, 4, 5 wins. And we're going to have a pretty good draft pick because of it. Real good draft order. All right. If that happens, the team becomes instantly more appealing to an incoming general manager. Why? Because we have a great draft pick. We have a great order in the draft for next year. That's the kind of stuff that appeals to a general manager. What else appeals to a general manager? Well, if you come in for an interview and they say, if you ended up becoming our new general manager, not only would you have a good draft order for next year and a chance to get some solid players and some long-term help for this team, you would also have carte blanche to make any changes you want to this team. You want to fire the head coach? Go right ahead. You want to fire the starting quarterback and trade him off or bench him? Go right ahead. It's your team. You make it how you want. That is what makes a team ideal for a new general manager. Somebody coming into the team and has been given permission to make the changes that he wants to make. Now, if you have a general manager come in and you say, we want to bring you in as general manager, unfortunately, you've got to make it work with Tua. You've got to make it work with Mike McDaniel. That's how you make a job unappealing. Okay? So I don't think that Stephen Ross is at the point where he's going to do that anymore. He's tried that. He's made that effort before, and it didn't pay off. And I think by seeing what Mike McDaniel did today, or what Stephen Ross did today by getting rid of Chris Grier, by seeing that tells me that Stephen Ross is seeing the big picture here. He recognizes the importance of putting the fire out at the base, of cutting the head off the snake. All right? I think this is a good way to start. And this is the only move that needs to happen right now. This was it. Everything else can happen a little bit later down the road, whether it be at the end of the season or a few more games down the road. I don't care about anything else other than the fact that Chris Grier is gone. That's the important part. We cannot lose sight of that. Is this season likely a wash? Yes. The season is over. Barring some kind of miracle and the greatest story ever told, to take the words from Dan Mitchell. Yeah, barring a greatest story ever told situation, this is it. The season's probably not going to work out very well for us. But a season that doesn't work out well for us, let me just clarify here. I want the Dolphins to win every game they play. Okay? I'm not rooting for tanks. Just to clarify that. I understand certain players or certain teammate or good grief, I am all over the place. I'm sorry, I'm so excited. I understand certain fans would want that. I see the logic, right? You want a tank because you want the best draft pick in the league, right? I understand. You want the number 1, the number 2, whatever. I do too, but I don't want losses. I want us to win games. That's the bottom line. All right, so with that said, the season is likely going to end up with a lot more losses, right? I think let me get to this one first. Sorry. Praying we keep Achane and Waddle, Brewer, Gordon, Brooks. I agree. I like some players. We do have some players here that could become a base for this team, right? And I think that an incoming general manager is going to recognize that. Are we going to get every player we want to stay here staying? I don't know. I really don't. If certain players get traded, am I going to be bummed? Yeah, if certain players end up going, I'll be bummed. But I can recognize the need for some to go, right? And I can recognize that it might not be exactly what I want, but I'm not the general manager now. But I'm okay with that. You know why? Because neither is Chris Grier. I love Kiffin. He's got attitude and presence. He does. He has that leader of men mentality, and I think he's gotten better. He's grown a lot since the last time that people took issue with him. So I agree. What Denver did is nothing short of astonishing. They cut their losses and hit reset. And yes, you're right. They did. And I think that this could end up being another situation like that. Now, the big difference between Denver and Miami is that Miami has already got a crap ton of dead cap. Okay. And if we end up getting rid of Tua, we're going to set an NFL record for the most amount of dead cap in an offseason. So we got to be careful with how we do this. Okay. So the whole let's get rid of everybody thing is just not, it's not possible. Some players are going to be gotten rid of. I don't know who, but we need to keep our brains working, right? We need to keep thinking about this and not just with the blow up everything mentality. We just got to be patient now. Now we need to watch. And smart fans would be evaluating along with, right? We pretend that we're an incoming general manager. We pretend that we're watching this team for the first time, really. Let's just pretend that. Starting next week against the Buffalo Bills, let's watch this team and see who we need to trade with an open mind, right? Not a closed mind, but with an open one. Let's see what happens. I'm pretty sure Ross didn't come to this conclusion on its own. I think his son-in-law must have had some input, especially with him being the successor. Stephen Ross's son is not the successor. It's not Stephen Ross's son. Stephen Ross's daughter is going to be the one that takes over the team. He's already said as much. But I think you're right. I think his son-in-law had some input. I think people that he loves and cares about definitely had some input here. I think that this is good. And here's the thing. Stephen Ross listening to people he cares about and taking their advice and not just ignoring it, I think that's a good thing. I think what you're saying, George, is that I think that's a good thing. No matter who his successor is, if he's taking advice from other people that know the Dolphins, I like it. I'm excited about this. Absolutely. Absolutely. For the first time in a while, I can now say trust the process. Dude, see? And this is all fans needed. We needed something to grab onto and be like, this is good. It's been a while since the entire fan base can agree on this. That's what's so exciting about this. It's been a while since we all could look at something and as a unit, as an entire fan base, everybody looks at it and goes, all right, I'm good with this. That was smart. And it was. So here we are. A little bit of hope. Not hopium, not that fake crap. Not maybe we'll win another game. No. Real, true hope. Hope that this is going to turn around, that we have a chance to at least, right? Nobody knows how it's going to turn out. But any change is better than what we've been dealing with for 25 years, for 53 years. If you really want to get down to brass tacks, 53 years. I'm 43 years old. There are Dolphins fans who've been around for this entire Super Bowl drought of 53 years. Whew, I'm excited, guys. The most promising thing here is that Ross is listening to someone outside the rotten circle. Yes, that's exactly what I just said. Absolutely. No one inside that building had the best intentions for the team, but it was all selfishness. And now they're bringing in somebody else to run the team, even if it's Champ Kelly. If Champ Kelly comes in for the rest of this season and rocks it, makes good decisions, I could see a world where he ends up being able to retain and keep that general manager position. Is it likely? No. It's likely that he's going to find somebody else. But lucky, what's up, brother? Thanks for coming in, man. Hey, you guys, make sure you throw that like down when you're in here. It helps out a bunch. But yes, this is great. And I love these comments in here. You guys are smart fans. I'm telling you. The Dolphins fan base has been so split lately that oftentimes we have a hard time getting on the same page with anything. Here is something that we can all agree on. This was a good move. This was the only move that you can make right now that makes sense. They did it. Big O for GM. Oh, man. This is great. And I have this list here. We're going to talk about it in a minute. Of these general managers that are these, not general managers yet, but people that would make sense or at least look at, right? Make sense to take a look at if you're Stephen Ross. People that we should talk to. Say, hey, what's up, man? Are you happy where you are? Are you happy with that assistant general manager position that you're in right now? Or would you like to come over to Miami for an interview? Love to talk to you about, your opportunity to control your own team. Carte blanche. Whatever you want to do. We're going to have a good draft pick. Got a good situation down here. No taxes. Come on over and check us out. Give me a call if you want to come over and check us out. I'd love to talk to you about it. We'll have dinner. That's what we need to do. That's how we need to see this happen. TD for GM. I'm going to tell TD you said that, Balake. I'm going to tell him, Blake. I'm going to tell him. Rafa, what's up, man? Thanks for coming in. I know you're happy. I know you're excited. Big O will start. Yeah, dude, you can start paying in crypto if you like. That's for sure. So we have reasons to smile. You guys should enjoy it, okay? I feel like we lost that game so badly yesterday. So badly. And I'm sitting here. I feel like we won. I feel like we've won like 10 games in a row. I see something happening here, right? And seeing it being the correct move is why I'm so excited. Not just because it was any move. I'm excited because it was the right one. Okay. Later on, we can talk about who's going to be the next head coach if we fire Mike McDaniel. Who are we going to trade? These are all things. Hey, Gator Fanatic, what's up, man? Thanks for coming in. This is what's exciting. I'm not concerned right now with who are we going to trade. I mean, that's all going to be worked out, right? And now, all those questions that we had: are we going to bench Tua? Are we going to cut Tua? Are we going to trade Tua? Are we going to trade this guy? Are we going to trade that guy? Is Jalen Phillips going somewhere? Is Bradley Chubb going? It's not Chris Greer working on all this anymore. So now, all the things that we've been hearing for the past 2 weeks, these rumors about trades and stuff, and how certain things aren't going to happen, some things are, none of that is true anymore. Champ Kelly has been given absolute control right now. He's interim, but he's still in charge. Some of these things are going to change. Some things are going to happen that they said wouldn't happen. Some things aren't going to happen that they said were likely. And I'm okay with that. Let anybody else make these decisions other than Chris Greer. Chris Greer has a family, yes. It's sad that he lost his job. He's been with the Dolphins for 20 years. I understand that. And I'm not celebrating that. But I can be happy for my team because I know, number one, Chris Greer is going to find somewhere else to work. It might not be in general manager form. But it's not like he was making minimum wage, okay? The man is making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. More than that. So knowing that, he's good. Moving on. I wish you luck, man. Have a great one. Kick rocks. I'm happy. I'm happy for the promise and the hope that our team has right now. We don't know what's going to happen. Michael, what's up, brother? Thanks for coming in, man. Appreciate you guys. All you guys, thanks for coming in. Make sure you guys throw that like down. Help me out. Let's get this algorithm going. I've got about 20 or 30 more minutes before I have to get out of here, but I wanted to talk about some of these options we have. No, not head coach, not players. Let's let Champ Kelly work on that for now. But for now, let's look at some options we have. And these are players that I kind of made this little list, right? And it's not a long list right now. Earlier today, in fact, just an hour or two ago, my list was only at 2 people, okay? And now my list has gotten a little larger. It's 5. I have 5 people on my list. I had to look and make sure how many I had. One of them is a female. And I'm not saying hire one of these people above another. Right now, I'm saying these are 5 people that I'm looking at as saying, that might be interesting. Now, those of you that think that a woman has no business being a general manager, let me just say one thing in regards to that, and I'll start with her on this list. Women can be cutthroat in business. So, and I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm saying that as a good thing. All right? Now, no, not Jennifer Lopez. You're killing me. All right. Hear me out here. Let's talk about number 1. And this is in no order, okay? I'm not saying number 1 is the most likely or the one that deserves it the most. But I'm going to start with the female candidate on my list. I know it's crazy, but I'm not going to ignore this person because she is legit. Okay. And Dolphins fans might recognize this name. If you follow who's been in our front office off and on and different positions in our front office, and you remember some names, this woman has been a part of our organization multiple times for multiple years. Okay. And lately she's been rocking it in her new position that she's had. Not new, but she's been in this position for a while. Her name is Dawn Aponte. Okay. Dawn Aponte, chief admin of football operations for the NFL. She's not associated with the team right now, but she has expressed Michelle Obama. Dawn Aponte has expressed interest in becoming a general manager. And more specifically, she loves the Miami Dolphins. She is a Miami Dolphins fan. And these are the kind of things that you look for, that you would like, right? We would like somebody who cares about the team, not just the paycheck. She's very smart. She does know football. And she's been the chief admin of football operations for the NFL for a while now. And she's done a good job. Now, that's one option we have here. And like I said, if I heard that any of these people that I'm about to mention got interviews for the general manager position, I'd be stoked. I would be. I'm not going to lie. So Dawn Aponte is the first one. She's the female candidate on my list because I'm an equal opportunity employer. All right. Now, let's move on to the obvious one. The most obvious one, Champ Kelly. I know he's the interim, right? But he's got this season, the rest of the season, to make some moves and to have an impact. And if he does that, there's a very likely chance that he'll end up being and maintaining that general manager position. He did not come to this team by happenstance. Okay? There was a reason he came here. Stephen Ross and Champ Kelly are very close. So that's something to keep in mind. If he ends up rocking it out, he could wind up locking down this job permanently. All right? Oh, she would, dude. Definitely. Dawn Aponte definitely would do that. She would do everything she can to make this team a winner. No doubt in my mind. The most important thing to her would not be money. So that's something to think about. Also, Champ Kelly. That's the first two that I have on my list. Obviously, like I said, not the most important. It's not in any kind of order. These are just two people that instantly popped into my head. The other ones. This one I want to mention as a shout out to Josh from 305 Gridiron. Okay. If you haven't checked out his channel, go check it out. Josh from 305 Gridiron. We're in a group text with him and his guys, and he texted today. And this name, I came across almost the exact same time that he texted it, but he technically said it first. So I want to give him credit. Alec Halaby, assistant general manager for the Philadelphia Eagles. What you have seen the Philadelphia Eagles do over the last few years, that is largely in part to Alec Halaby. So just throwing that out there. Absolutely. Yeah, Blake, they're wonderful dudes. I love them to death. That's why I'm in a group chat over the phone with them all the time, always talking, right? So on the short list, Alec Halaby, very, very important. Cannot sleep on him. I have another person in the front office for the Philadelphia Eagles that we need to think about, okay? The next one, this is number 4, Adam Berry. Adam Berry is the VP of Football Operations and Strategy for the Philadelphia Eagles. Another very, very important key part of that Philadelphia Eagles front office. So Adam Berry and Alec Halaby. I would call the Eagles and be like, hey, can I talk to both these guys real quick, please? This is Stephen Ross. I'd like to chat with both your VP of Football Operations and your Assistant General Manager right now. Go ahead and put them on the line. Thank you. I'll hold. That's what we need to have happen. This is what we need. Okay. Interview both of those men. Stat. Okay. Now, moving. And there are some people in Baltimore too. And this list could likely balloon to 15 or 20. And I'm sure I'll kind of refine my list as we go. But after today, in the very short amount of time that I've had to really think about this, these are the people I have. So that's number 4. The next one that I have on my list, and the last one for right now, is Chad Alexander. He is the assistant general manager for the Chargers. this man largely responsible for what the Chargers did last year and the team that they've built. They have built a very good team. Okay. They've had a couple struggles this year, but that's through no fault of the front office for the Chargers. They've done a wonderful job. And I think that Chad Alexander is looking for that next step up from his assistant general manager position with the Chargers. And I think that he'd be a fantastic fit for Miami. So with that small list that I just gave, Chad Alexander with the Chargers, the assistant general manager, Champ Kelly, our interim GM right now. That's another option we have. Why? Because we're going to get to see how he does things right now. Okay. For the rest of the season, we're going to get to see that. Donna Ponte. She is a definite Dolphins fan. Done a lot of work for this organization. Now is working for the NFL and rocking it. She would be a fantastic job. Chief admin of football operations for the NFL right now. Adam Berry with the Philadelphia Eagles, VP of football operations and strategy, and Alec Calaby, the assistant GM for the Philadelphia Eagles. I really think that Stephen Ross needs to do his due diligence with the Philadelphia Eagles. Also, on a side note, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Miami Dolphins actually have a very good working relationship. Okay, so it's another thing to think of there. Good opportunity for both those guys to step up in positions and take over their own team and get some control of their own team and see what they can do. I think both of them would do a wonderful job for us. This is a wonderful opportunity for Miami, and I hope they don't squander it. Okay. Yeah, like I said, there is so many options here. Okay. There's a lot of guys that would do well. And I think that we'd be fools if our owner would be a fool if he slept on any of these people. I think he needs to do his due diligence. More importantly, take his time. Do not try to rush a player into this position or a GM into this position. Don't. Really do your due diligence. Do your interviews. Take your time with this. I'm happy, Stephen Ross. This is my plea to Stephen Ross. I'm happy that you fired Chris Greer. I'm happy. I'm glad you have testicles that work, and I'm glad you found them. Now I want you to take your time, step back, and really, really examine this general manager. Chat GPT for GM. I mean, smarter than Chris Greer. Really take your time to examine this and make a good decision. Please, 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 let's try to make this team as appealing to a general manager coming in as we possibly can. Meaning maximize draft picks, trade players that are sucking our cap space. Do what we can to make this more attractive to a good, solid candidate for general manager. Even if that's Champ Kelly. Whatever we have to do, do it. If that means getting rid of some players that I like, as much as I don't like this new logo, I like the old one better. I'm very obvious, very, very vocal about that. But as much as I don't like that logo compared to the old one, it is still the Miami Dolphins logo. And I am still a Miami Dolphins fan above all else. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan before any player fan. Okay? So whatever players we wind up with on this team, if they're trying to win games and they're playing hard, I'm rooting for them. I root for the Miami Dolphins, not individual players. So if that means we have to lose some players that I like, I wish them nothing but success. I think he would work very hard. I think the pressure that he would put on himself, knowing the history that his dad has, or that he has, that Shula has, the history the name has with this team. I think that's a sign that he would work very hard. Like I said, there's a lot of options here for coaching, all the coaching positions, for player positions. There's a lot of things we can do. But the first step has been completed. First challenge done. And it's so exciting, guys. We have some genuine hope, not hopium, genuine hope. A reason to be hopeful. I can't wait to see what happens. So in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue my evaluations. I evaluate players and our team, and I'm constantly writing things down. And I got this little notebook floating around here that's just full of pages and pages and pages of stuff. I think that the team needs to be made to be as appealing as possible. I think that whatever GM comes in here needs to have carte blanche to do whatever he wants with the team. It needs to be his. No caveats where we're like, you need to just kind of keep Tua. You got to do what you can with Tua. You have to keep Mike McDaniel. You have to keep so and so. No, none of that. You tell the incoming GM, hey, this is your team. You evaluate and you do what you see fit. That's what needs to happen. I like Champ Kelly. I haven't seen what he can do yet, but I like the man. I like his football intelligence, and I like his ability. And I think that he's here for a reason. And I would not be shocked if he wound up nailing down this general manager position as a whole, outright. But it's not like that right now. Why? And this is why I'm encouraged, because Stephen Ross seems to actually want to take the time to make the evaluations himself. Who is he going to put in that position? He's taking his time with this. I don't think this is something we're going to hear an answer to next week. I think this is something we'll get an answer to at the end of the season. So until then, Champ Kelly's got run of this team, and I think he's not going to stand pat on what's here. I think he's going to start making moves. Why is he doing that if he might not be here? Because I think he's under strict instructions to make this team attractive. There's a lot of things about this team that are very attractive already. Doing a few things here could make this team very, very attractive. We've already got a lot of draft picks. We do. We're going to wind up with more. And I think that Champ Kelly could get us a few more. And I think that needs to happen. Sadly, I think that means that we need to trade some players away. And definitely need to cut some. Cutting some and putting some rookies in, fine. If that means we play a little worse, we won't. Even with some rookies in some of these positions like Larry Borum, worst lineman in the NFL. I'm not even joking when I say that. Even with that, if we cut Larry Borum, plug some random in, it can't be any worse. I think this is a good thing. Trade Tua and become in Dolphin history. Tua is a quandary for me. I don't want to set an NFL record for the most dead cap in NFL history, and that's what we'll do if we trade Tua. I really and honestly and truly think that we need to, at the very least, wait till after the draft to do anything with Tua. That would reduce a little bit of the hit we would take if we waited till after the draft with Tua. But no matter what we do with him, if we get rid of him before the end of next season, it's going to hurt. And that's one of those things that would actually make the team less appealing. So if you're going to end up paying that money anyway, make him second string, bench him. I don't know. There's options here. I'm not saying anything for sure, guys. Greer's been on a short leash. If you think about Champ Kelly position with senior personnel executive, sounds like another word for GM. It kind of does. He works directly under the GM. But once again, even with that, Chris Grier had the final say. And that's where the problem lies. Not anymore. That is not the problem anymore. Champ Kelly has the final say now. And that's good. Is already attractive, but you got to have the right head coach, someone like, yeah. And so I mentioned that earlier. The no state tax thing is huge. That's a big appealing part of this. Florida is beautiful. That's a big appealing part. The weather is amazing. That's another big appealing part. But yeah, here's my point. Follow me on this. You don't want to institute a head coach without the general manager having his pick. So if the general manager comes in and says, I like Mike McDaniel. I think I can work it out with him. I think he can fix this. With the right support, I think he can fix this. If the general manager comes in and says that, then Mike McDaniel should stay. If the general manager comes in and says, I can't work with this, he's got to go, then give him the power to do that. Let him cut Mike McDaniel. Let him fire him. And then let him institute a head coach that he wants to work with. Whoever the GM is, let him make that call, right? That's kind of where I'm at with this. Let the GM make those changes. Right now, I'm in evaluation mode, all of this. I'm evaluating everything now. I feel like I have new eyes looking at all of this team. Why? Because we have somebody else looking. Right, I agree. He's not head coach material. But if you're trying to bring in a general manager and you've already instituted a new head coach, that's not ideal for a new incoming general manager. An incoming general manager is going to want to be able to make those changes himself. And we're losing games, right? The season is already a wash. We're losing these games. We're likely going to continue to lose a lot more. I'm not saying I'm rooting for it. I always root for wins. But I think firing Mike McDaniel right this minute doesn't make much sense. Do I think Mike McDaniel is a good head coach? Nope, I don't. I think he's likely going to get fired. But we need to let the general manager make that decision. And until we have not an interim, but an actual general manager, I don't think that's a position that should be messed with. Now, if Champ Kelly says, Stephen Ross, we've got to get rid of Mike McDaniel, I think that'll happen. But it's up to the general manager. The general manager is going to want to make a decision about who he has as head coach because the team is his and he's making those calls. Whoever our general manager may be, he or she. All right, and that's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm not arguing with you on any point particularly. I actually agree that I don't think Mike McDaniel is a good head coach. I think he would be a fantastic play caller and an offensive coordinator if that was all he was doing. But it's not. He's splitting his attention amongst other things, running an entire team. And I think that's where his failure is right now. I don't think he's ready to be a head coach. What do you guys think here? I hope that people are as encouraged as I am. Right. But Lo-Fi, once again, that's decisions for the general manager to make. And we need to give, now that we have gotten rid of the general manager, we need to give whoever the new general manager is time to evaluate and make changes. That's where we're at. We've got to give whoever it is a chance. I want to see what that person's vision is for this team. We won't know until well into next offseason, but we'll start seeing something take shape, something different. Yes, they do. They have a lot of good candidates. A lot that I was looking at. Like I said, this list that I have is likely going to balloon from 5 people to 15 in no time. I would hope that our new general manager is thinking the same thing. Furthermore, as far as that's concerned, I would hope that our interim general manager is thinking that. And I hope that he keeps that in mind and looks at the body of work and sees that needs to change at least a little bit. And then he can start making some trades and changes with players. Right now, we have a new GM and someone who's going to be a candidate for that permanent GM position. I'm not saying don't trade players. I'm saying that Champ Kelly is going to make some of these changes right now, and that's up to him. Stephen Ross has already given him the permission to make changes. And I think he's going to. I think we're going to start seeing that pretty quick here. I'm just saying that for the main things, like when you look at it from a head coach position, defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, those kind of things, you don't make those kind of changes until you have the person who's going to be running those positions in place. Until we have a solid general manager in place, someone who's going to be here, not interim. Now, if they turned around tomorrow and said, Champ Kelly is not going to be our interim, he's going to be our permanent general manager. If that happened, whatever. I want to see it happen. At that point, I start looking for new head coaches to come in new offensive coordinators, new defensive coordinators. But you can bet that whoever our general manager brings in as a head coach, he's going to know who that person is looking at for offensive or defensive coordinator or whichever one. There's tiers to this. We have tons of players on this team that take up a lot of salary cap that if they decided they wanted to go a different direction, they could without messing with the head coaches and things like that. The head coach doesn't even affect our salary cap. So there's not much need right now. If you're trying to make the team as appealing as possible, losing games isn't the worst thing right now. I know it's hard to think and say, but it's not the worst thing. If anything, that makes it more appealing to a general manager coming in, knowing he's got a first, second, third round pick, or first, second, or third pick in the draft order. So we'll see how this goes. Like I said, there's a lot of things here, and I'm not saying any official direction right now. What I'm saying is that we have hope for a future now, not just the next year with general manager Chris Grier. Now we're going to see some changes. I guarantee you it's going to happen. There's going to be changes. It's just when and who. Right at this second, I'm not sure. And I think that that's the responsible thing to be right now, is unsure. But we should allow ourselves to be pleased with this move today. It was the only logical step to be taken. Right now, this was the step to be taken. And they did it. So thank you, Stephen Ross, for actually making a good move with your football team. I'm sure most Dolphins fans across the nation and the world are pleased by this. Chris Grier, I hope you have a good career wherever you wind up, just as long as it isn't Miami. I don't wish any ill will on your family or anything like that. Jackson and Daniels should be back soon. We will see what we can do in the offense. Yeah, we will. And I think that's why I said we have to evaluate this. We can't just jump on this fire everyone's ship right now. The biggest thing has been done. The biggest need has been done. The only thing that makes sense has been done. Now, let's see what happens. As far as I'm concerned, since this first step has been taken, and it's the proper one, I feel a little more leeway with my thoughts on what's going to happen next. I definitely feel a little more hopeful. Oh, yeah. I mean, but here's the thing. It's likely that something could change there. I just don't know. But I do like our backfield right now. I like who we have. We'll see what ends up happening. Be excited. We have something good has happened. And there's some actual hope for this team now. Where we're going to go, what we're going to do, I don't know. But you can believe that I'm going to cover it. I'm going to report it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to do my own evaluations. And I continue to do what I do. And I hope you guys stick along for the ride. Those of you guys that are in here, make sure you throw a like down before you head out. If you're new, please subscribe. Check me out. I do a few streams a week. Oftentimes do games, whatever, anything and everything Dolphins. I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so much for coming in. If you're just popping in, make sure you go back and listen to the stream. It's a shorter one. It's only 48 minutes. Have hope. It's good. This is a great thing. Be excited. And let's follow this team. Let's see what happens. Let's see where they go. And I have a little bit of faith now. Thanks for watching, everybody. And I know it's hard, but stay hopeful if you can. We'll talk to you guys next time.